Well, hello again, everybody. Mr. Reeves with you again, and I'm going to be making a video now about how to use the online textbook effectively. So it might be a little different than what you're used to. So if you think, oh, I know how to use the book, please go ahead and watch this video all the way through, because I'm pretty sure you're going to learn something new. So I'm going to be using the 7th grade lesson as an example and the 7th grade textbook, although everything I show here works pretty much the same way for the 8th grade textbook. So this is the lesson that I posted for today in Google Classroom for 7th grade. The lesson is circumference of a circle, and it corresponds with module 9.1 in our textbook. And I've picked out some key problems that you can see there that I think are the types of problems that you need to know how to do. And so several people have just gone and worked on those problems, which is great. But let me show you some ways you can approach this. So let's go ahead first and let's log into our online textbook. So I made another video about that, but I'll go through that process again. It's always a great idea to start at the San Juan portal, so I'm going to start here. Now, by the way, I'm logging in on my teacher account, so things are going to look slightly different for the students, but it's pretty similar, so you should be able to figure it out. So again, in the portal, you should have a tab that says Student, and on that student window, there is a tile that says Middle School, and in that Middle School folder, there is another tile called HMH, and that link gets you to your online textbook. Now again, it looks slightly differently for me because I'm a teacher. I have access to all these different books here, but I'm going to go ahead and go to the grade 7 math book. And again, you can see that I have a lot of things that you don't have. So everything that's in red, students don't have. But the things here in yellow, you do. And I want to point out these three different yellow tiles. The first one is the Interactive Student Edition. The middle one, the Student Online Edition. And finally, the Student Edition and Resources. And I'm actually going to work from right back to left. All right, so let's first take a look at the Student Edition and Resources. So if I click on that tab, you can see it's like a table of contents for the entire book. It has modules. It has all the modules. It has some benchmark tests and different things. If you scroll down, you can get some stuff in Spanish. The videos that I've been posting, you actually have access to all of those videos here. These are those math on the spot videos. So for example, today I have these videos that I chose from 9.1. So if you click on one of these, up will show Dr. Berger in his videos. So if you ever just want to get to those videos directly without my links, you have access to those. Again, those are the math on the spot videos. The real world videos are some of the videos that you can take a look at. So these are just resources that you have access to. I'm going to go ahead and click on Module 9 just to show you what happens. So it pulls it up, and those of you who know about PDFs should recognize pretty quickly that this is a PDF document. So all this is the entire Module 9 from the textbook in PDF form. I can keep scrolling down through, but these are just like the pages in your book. So if you brought your book home, and I know a bunch of you didn't, they're still on the counter in my classroom, it looks just like this. And none of these links are live or anything. It's just like paper. So if I go over, you can tell that these links aren't live, because if I go over it, I don't get the hand to appear. So this is nothing more than a PDF version. So if you wanted a PDF of the entire module on your computer, now you have it. I don't really recommend doing that, but certainly you have that option. So again, that was the last tab, the Student Edition and Resources. If you want to get to anything in the book quickly, or if you want to get to those videos, they're there. All right, so now let's go to the middle one, the Student Online Edition. Now this is going to be somewhat similar to what we just looked at. All right, I already have it open, by the way, to lesson 9.1. If you were to go over here, you can see the contents and you can go all the way out until you get to the whole entire book. So we are in Unit 4 Geometry. We're in Module 9, and then you could see right here is lesson 9.1, and that's where we're at. Now there's that first page we were just looking at this in that other tab. There's a few differences here. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger. All right, so we can see the whole page larger. So this, again, it looks just like your textbook, but there's one big difference now. When I scroll over here, you can see that I got the hand, or the finger if you want to call it, right there, which means this is a link. So if I actually click on this now, it's going to take me to those Dr. Berger videos. So what's nicer about this versus the other one is not only do you have the page that looks just like your book, but you have all of these links. So Personal Math Trainer, let's talk about what is this Personal Math Trainer, because if I go over that, you see that that's also a link. All right, so if you had your textbook, you could do this problem, find the circumference of the circle to the nearest hundredth, and you could do it on paper, and I've posted the answers so you could go back and check on Google Classroom. But what happens if I click on this Personal Math Trainer that's right next to this example here? Well, you could see I get a problem that looks very similar. It says find the circumference of the circle to the nearest hundredth. Use 3.14 for pi. Now in the book, this diameter was 11, right? Can I go back over and see? You could see that right here it was 11. But when I clicked on the Personal Math Trainer, it gave me a very similar problem, but it changed the diameter to 23. So I can go ahead and do this problem. Well, let's see. The circumference of a circle is diameter times pi. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my calculator, and I'm going to go 23 times. Now, the book said to use 3.14 for pi. I like to use the pi button, but I'm going to be a good soldier and do what they said. So I'm going to put 3.14. I'm multiplying the diameter times pi, and I get 72.22, and it tells me to round to the nearest hundredth. Well, it only goes two places, 72.22, so I type in 72.22. I type in, let's try this again. It doesn't want to work. Okay, 72.22, and then I hit submit, or let me hit check answer, and it tells me well done. So guys, you could see the advantage of this over the traditional textbook. In the traditional textbook, I would do the problem, and then I'd have to look up the answer key. And again, I've provided all the answers on Google Classroom. For every page I post out of the student book, I post that same page from the teacher edition. But this way, using this Personal Math Trainer, I was able to do the problem, not the same exact problem, but it doesn't really matter because it's the exact same process. Now, if I wasn't sure how to do it, I can click on View Example, and it does that problem for me, showing me the work. Or if I didn't want to see everything filled in, I could do the problem step by step. Step 1 out of 3, identify the diameter of the circle. It's 23 centimeters. Check. We're good. Step 2, use the formula. So I'm going to put in pi, but again, it said to use 3.14, so I'm going to put 3.14 for pi. Check. And finally, I'm going to put that answer in, and it was what, 72.22, I think is what it was. Check. All right. Great. Okay, circumference is about 72.2, and then look what it says, try another. And then it gives me a very similar problem. In fact, the exact same problem, except they changed the diameter. All right, so say even after looking at an example and step by step I'm struck, I can click here on the video tutor, and up pops, that's right, Dr. Berger showing me that first example on how to do it. Or I can click here on textbook, and when I do that, it takes me right back out here. So I'm not going to do that, but as you can see, there is a lot of power wrapped up in using, remember which one we're on. We're on the Student Online Edition, the middle one right here. All right, there's a big advantage, and you can do the problems live. Now, let's say I wanted to do the ones that Mr. Reeves had suggested. Mr. Reeves said problems 3, 4, 8, 15, 19, and 20. So I'm going to go over to where the assignment starts. By the way, when I post those problem numbers, I'm talking about the numbers that start at guided practice. So if you look before that, you'll see some of these other problems are numbered, right? Like that your turn is number 3. But when I post those numbers, I'm talking about the, traditionally we'd call them the exercise numbers, right? This is the guided practice. It starts at number 1 every time. So the guided practice, number 1. The first question I said actually was number 3. So if we were to look at number 3, again, if I were doing it the paper and pencil way, I would be right back here at a problem just like the one we just looked at with a diameter of 25. All right, but what do we have right here? Personal Math Trainer. Guided practice, personal math trainer. I'm going to click on this. And then here's the problem numbers. I'm going to click on number 3, right? And here's a number 3. It's not the exact same number 3. If you take a look, it's not the exact same number 3, but it is a similar problem. This one gives the radius instead of giving the diameter. All right, you can actually, if you wanted one where they give you the diameter, you could see number 2 is different. So sometimes these won't match up exactly, but if you look at what I picked out of the textbook, and I'm going to go by what's in the actual textbook, and then you go by, it's going to be one of these very closely. And again, I can do the view example, the step-by-step, the video tutor, or again, I don't really know why you'd want to do this, but if you wanted to see what the textbook was, you can click on that. All right, and again, when you put answers into any of these, it's going to tell you if you are right or wrong. So you get that immediate feedback. That's not the way you're usually going to get it. This is, I hope you can see, this is actually much better than the traditional way of doing the problems, all right, and checking your answers. If you did that, or waiting oftentimes till the next day to find out answers or go over questions with your teacher. All right, so we looked at the right one, the student edition and resources, which can be helpful to get a PDF version, or if you want to see those videos real quickly, you can see them there. I hope you saw that this is actually a much better option, especially for what you're doing, working through the problems. You can get to the videos, you can get to example problems, you can get to that immediate feedback. All right, so let's talk about this first tab here, which we're looking at third, the interactive student edition. So I'm getting a bunch of tabs here. I'm going to go ahead and close these, and I'm going to pull up the interactive student edition. All right, and you can see this is something quite different. So we still have Math 7, right? These are module 1, 2, 3. If you remember the unit we're in geometry. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up geometry, and we're in module 9, and we're in 9.1. So let me just click on this and let's see what happens. All right, here it comes. Essential question. How do you find and use the circumference of a circle? Hey, let's play this video and see what happens.
I spend a ton of time outside studying animals and playing.
All right, so we're not going to watch that whole video, but you can see it gives us an introduction, right? And then you see this arrow right here? That's to take us to the very next page. Just so you know, you can also skip at any time, and you'll learn after a while what these different colors mean. All right, but let's just go ahead and go to the next page and see what it gives us.
Definition of the radius of a circle. A radius is a line segment with one endpoint at the center of the circle and the other endpoint on the circle. The length of a radius is called the radius of the circle.
All right, so as you can see, it's starting to give a tutorial. All right, and then it's taking you through the lesson. So what this does is this actually takes us through the lesson.
Using an appropriate circumference formula.
Now, if you don't want to go step by step,
Now let's practice with the personal math trainer.
we could have gotten here by directly clicking on this. All right, so this personal math trainer, does that sound familiar to you? That's what we were doing on the other page. Now, you notice you have to click on it when I put my cursor over there, it grows larger. All right, so then it gives us a couple problems that we can work through. And again, just like before when we were in it, at any time we can view an example, we could go step by step, or if we wanted to skip out to the textbook. Now here's a case where it might actually make sense, because if you're feeling a little lost in here, you can click out to the textbook and it will give you some context on where you're at in the textbook. So this to me is where that textbook link especially makes sense. All right, so the orange right there is going to be the personal math trainer for the practice examples as you work through, and then the red.
Now try your homework on your own with the personal math trainer.
So the red is where we were earlier when we were in the other edition, right? We went to question number 3. Do you remember? And it gave us a radius, but you notice the radius it gave us is different. All right, so again, these problems do not correspond exactly to what's in the book. All right, so again, just to give you some context here, when I pick these problems, I'm picking different types of problems that students need to know. So if you choose to go and work through the personal math trainer, these problems in the personal math trainer will not match exactly. They won't match exactly the problems that I've assigned. So make sure you take a look at the textbook and see what they are. But if you work through these problems that they have here, look, there's one where they give you the diameter. There's one where they give you the radius. You're going to get to the different types. All right? So just make sure you're getting a good idea of the different types of problems you're asked to do. All right, well, I hope that helps you understand the online textbook and how it works better, or how it can work better, actually, than the traditional way. But again, if you like the traditional way, if you enjoy just working, if you took your book home and you just like to write on paper, okay, I do provide you with the student edition every time. So even if you don't have the book, you could see what it looks like there. And I provide the teacher edition. So after you do it, you can check your answers. But I hope you learn to take advantage of these different features, especially the student online edition. And if you need some extra tutoring and you just want to work through the lesson, or parents, if you want to learn it, this is a great thing for you to go through as well. All right, well, I hope this was helpful. Again, we went through the 7th grade book. 8th graders, you're going to find it's very, very similar in what you have. All right, for IM1 students, you're going to get your own video because yours is a little different. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.